Good morning, my APR back. Here's the plan. We're back. 4 missed days. I didn't want to film for 2 reasons. Number one, I've just not been able to fix the microphone connection, and the sound quality through the internal microphone on this is all over the place. To the extent where today I'm almost certain I'm going to have to think about putting some subtitles on at least part of the video, because really it's all over the show. Sometimes it comes out reasonably clear and other times it doesn't. Sometimes the volume is high and sometimes it's low. It's a mess. So I'm sorry about that. If you don't mind living with subtitles, at least where I think they might be appropriate, I appreciate it. Secondly, I just wanted a break. Don't know how you can get burned out doing something like this, but that's kind of how I felt. And somebody I met on Sunday night said they could see that in the videos. So we have a lot of catching up to do. I'm probably only going to be filming twice a day at this point now, simply because walking around when there is tools being used, when there's talking, music, it drowns out the microphone far too easily. So probably once in the morning when we're just going to have to live with it, and once at the end of the day when they're finished. So there you go. Maybe you get shorter videos. Good for you guys. What could possibly go wrong? Here's the first new thing. The new steps of death. There is absolutely no chance I'm going up those, despite the fact that they've put the handrail on there, which probably they've done entirely for my benefit. Well, maybe not. But I'll show you now why we would have these new stairs. Here's the next new thing. We have the frame for these sliding doors going from the sunroom to the patio. So this will end up being effectively 4 sections. The sections on either end will just be solid glass. 2 sections in the middle will be sliding doors. So they are going to be pretty big going across here, which is what we asked for. Here's the next new thing. We have a toilet, a WC if you prefer, and it's fully functional. All installed down here in the very dark bathroom for the gym and spa. The first one. This is the helper's room, and we've got a second water closet installed. Apparently this is a slightly different way of installing it, because this one doesn't have what would count as a bolt to secure it to the floor. So they're having to use rather a lot of cement mix, I guess, to actually put this one in place. I've never heard of that before. But that's the design of this particular toilet. This is the reason why we have those new external stairs, or steps, I suppose. This is Tangile wood. This is going to be used on internal permanent stairs that will be used on the steps. Look at it, this incredible big old thick pieces of wood here. That's really quite impressive. The edges will be sanded down a little bit so it's not quite as sharp on the feet. But I imagine any termites watching this are thinking, the party's going. So it will be treated, of course, as best it can be to try and resist termites for as long as possible. We can't have no wood in the house, it's just not realistic. We are making a change in the living room to do with air conditioning, and it's kind of an enforced change, even though it was something we were considering before. We are not now going to put the wall-mounted air conditioner in here.
we will only be using a floor standing unit, which we have already. But the reason it's an enforced change is because that standing unit right now is broken. And it was the only air conditioning we had in the other small house that we're residing in right now. So surviving here without air conditioning is not a lot of fun. We did it for a couple of days just with fans turned on, but it just doesn't really do the job, not even close. So the big one will come over here, assuming it can be fixed. The guys think it's a circuit board that's gone. And we will only have the floor standing unit in here, and that little, well, not so little, the wall unit that was going to go in here has now been installed in the other house. Oliver is here on the stairs, and he's been doing a lot of preparation over the last couple of days on these stairs, but they are getting ready to put that Angilo wood across the steps. Then the rise will be a white tile to kind of blend in with everything around it. But it means that once those wooden steps go in, we can't walk on them for a minimum, I'm told, of 1 day. So I don't know how long this process of fitting all of the stairs will be. It means this is the last time, probably for quite a while, that I'll be able to go upstairs. So we've got to go and see what's been going on up there. Something else new. The first of our chandeliers has been installed. Now, it's not quite right. You can make out that the wires holding the lights in place haven't been correctly adjusted yet. Apparently there were no instructions in the box, so they've just done a quick fix for now. And we'll figure out how to adjust the height of these lights. I don't think we want them coming down too much further than they are right now. In fact, where they are right now might be just about right. So it's just a case of trying to find how to hide those wires up in the ceiling. In Alex's room, we very nearly have a finished painted room. This is the top coat. It's the first of 2 top coats. The second top coat will come after flooring, everything is in place. But there's only a little bit more of this room left to be painted. So we've gone with quite a light grey, which was Alex's waist. I think it looks pretty good actually. It does mix fairly well with, certainly with the dark grey part of the ceiling. The white area, we felt we had to leave that white, otherwise the room was just getting too dark. In Sabrina's bedroom, we're also on the last leg of painting this room. So here, where previously it had been left fairly rough and ready because we thought there might be that design feature, has now been coated and painted. Once again, this is the penultimate coat, but this is the finished colour, so it's much, much lighter easily. Something else new. We now have this double height ceiling area. The brackets have been installed so that we can bring in the glass that will be the protective barrier just here. And it's not just here that's been done. The same thing has been done here at the double height entrance. We don't have the glass yet. That's not been delivered. So I imagine that probably won't take too much longer before it arrives. And on top of the glass there will be a wooden handrail. On Jack's balcony we don't have those brackets yet, and there was a slight problem here apparently. The curb needs to be a minimum of 6 inches across in order to take the fittings that they've got. There needs to be a 6-inch, I think it's a 6-inch bolt almost, that goes through here. So they're going to widen this curb all the way around, and that's why they've spent some time putting additional rebar all the way along on the inside. Haven't quite finished it yet. I've got to do the front wall as well. Here above the gas station canopy, Frederick, having completed the tiling on all of the columns at the front of the house, has now got pretty close to finishing the tiling up above the canopy as well as below. We'll try and get a further away shot of this so you get a better overall impression of what it would look like. Up here again you can see they've put some small lighter highlight tiles in. But that's it, that's all there's going to be. There's no more highlight tiles right up there on the top. I just thought that would be a bit too much. This is roughly what the steps will look like when they've been installed. This one is not installed, it's just sitting there. But that's the kind of thickness we're talking about on these steps. The corners, as I said, will be rounded a little bit. But it's big old steps. I think that looks really good. It's not easy to get a close-up view, but all of these columns are now fully tiled right up to the top. There are a couple of little tiny gaps at the bottom. I don't know if that's going to get filled in or just landfilled, backfilled. But as you can see, if you show from a different angle, getting close to finishing up at the top there. There will be a couple more additions. And here is the first of them. So below this window, again it is just light grey tiles with a slight pattern to them, and there'll be a couple more areas like that across the front. One where you can see it's not been skin coated under the window for the kitchen, and another one hiding behind that column which is just outside the dining room. There's a little bit more tiling to come, and the rest of it will be painted. This wasn't finished last time we looked, so we now have all of the tiling done for the carport, the carport and the storage in fact. So what comes next at some point is there will be pavers that go up to meet those tiles, and then just another concrete road surface really. But that's all finished. It's 4:30. The end of the day. The crew are out of here. A day of, quite honestly, frustration with sound. So once again, apologies for having to live with the internal microphone on this GoPro and the fact that it leaves the sound all over the place and very often very muffled. My apologies. Let's try and cheer ourselves up. And today that honour falls on, not for the first time, Michael Smith, who has put in the following. My friend told me that if I wanted to attract the girls, I just had to put a banana in my swimming trunks and they'd be all over me. After a long and lonely day at the pool, I realised I should have put it in front. Let's go and see what's been going on. The first thing we can see, is the second chandelier to be installed, which is the one above the back of the sunroom at the double height ceiling here. So they were testing it earlier on. It does work. It has a ridiculously complicated remote that we'll have to try and figure out because again, there's no instructions in the box. But we'll work it out. But there we go. We have our own version of the Olympic rings. Well, the Olympic rings on steroids, really. On the stairs, the end result of a day of cutting and sawing and quite a lot of grinding, sandpapering. They're not finished yet and they're not attached fully, but we now have half of the step surfaces at least resting in their final place, if not fully fixed in their final place. The engineer says that the foreman says 5 days to finish all of these wooden surfaces. My guess is it's Manny we're talking about here, who normally builds in a bit of wiggle room. So I think it might be a little quicker than 5 days to get all of these in. It does depend on having everything they need to finish the job. They only this afternoon received some of the bolts that they needed, and I think they're still missing 1 or 2 things to actually finish this, and we definitely do not have the tiles that will be on the riser part of these stairs, so that'll be another part of the process coming later. Something else new that must have been done while we weren't filming over the last few days is they've started to put basically encase the downspouts at the front of the house. There's one of these on either side of the front door that is just taking the water from the gas station canopy. So that is being encased in a metal frame with Hardiflex. At the moment, that's still not yet the plan for the downspouts at the back, but depending on how this turns out, it might end up being the solution. I think having the Hardiflex means that it remains semi-accessible rather than encasing it in the wall, which I know some people have done successfully. But for us, I think this may be an option to consider for the back of the house as well. I just summoned all of my courage, which is clearly a minuscule amount because I got about 4 steps up this thing and stopped. So we're not going to see upstairs for the next few days, I suspect. Not until possibly the beginning of next week. And today is only, what, Tuesday? So you're going to have to be patient with me, unless I give the camera to one of the crew and say, off you go, shoot a little bit upstairs and chatter away throughout. I suspect they wouldn't be too comfortable doing that. So upstairs, we're going to have to leave to your imagination for a while, because I don't think there's any way I'm going to get the whole way up these new steps of death. What I was going to show you, if I did make it further up the steps of death, was they have now finished the front facing part up at the top with the tiles. So that now extends all the way down to the ground, and there's still a little bit more to do up there. Oh, and we have son George shirtless. Oh my goodness, he's braver than me. He's going up. He made it. That's it for the day. I know that there was more painting going on upstairs. I know, because the engineer showed me a photo, that they have now put the water closet into Sabrina's bathroom, and there may be quite a lot more that's gone on upstairs, and I'm pretty confident there was more wiring and lighting done as well. But that's all I can show you until I do get brave enough to try and climb those external steps, or until the ones that are on the internal stairs are secure enough to be walked upon. Might be a while. So I've got to go off now and start adding more subtitles. Let me know in the comments about what you think about the sound quality, whether the subtitles help or not. They are a pain in the to do, so I would rather not do them, but I equally don't want to be putting out really lousy audio, which I know it is, and then leaving you to guess 50% or more of what I'm saying. I think the only solution is probably to buy a new set of connections for the microphone. I think the microphone itself is working, it's just the connections that I've got. Anyway, stop talking now. End of the day, see you tomorrow.